Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is a Tuesday, which means it's a Test It Tuesday, and in my last video I said today we're going to be trying the Bairly Sheer Spray-On Foundation. Now, I've only seen one commercial for this, and then I was on like a mad hunt to find it. They said it was available at Walmart and Target and a whole bunch of other places, and I only found it at Sally Beauty Supply. On like a random off chance. So I picked it up. I honestly can't remember how much it was. I want to say it was $12.99, $12.99. I will put the price when I find it in the description box below, along with a link of where this is available. So this is the Bairly Sheer Airbrush Cosmetics Spray-On Foundation. I got it in shade 2, and at Sally's they had because you obviously can't like spray this in the store, but they had like these little powder discs to find your match. I picked shade 2, which looks really pale, and it probably is a little too pale for my skin, but the next shade up was like very yellow, and the shade down was like white almost. So I just went with 2, and then, you know, I figured I could always warm it up with like contour or whatever. For the sake of the test, I have just a clean face. I don't have any primer or anything on. I wash my face beforehand, and it says to shake it, spray it, and then blend it in with a beauty sponge or a stippling brush. Or it also says that you can spray it on a beauty blender or a beauty sponge and dab it on. So we're going to try it both ways. On the one side of my face, we'll just spray it on directly, and then on the other side of my face, we'll try it with the beauty sponge to see how it works. Also, I'm going to be testing it with my contour palette and some setting powder and some concealer, just to see how well it also plays with other products. I know that not only is coverage important for foundation, but since it is the base for all of your makeup, you know, it needs to be able to play nicely with the other kids that you have in your caboodle or your cosmetics box. Wow, caboodle. Okay, so here we go. That doesn't really look like it covered my face at all. I feel it in my hair though. Ugh. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I can see it a little bit. Okay, so I definitely feel it in my hair. And I see it a little, I definitely see it in my eyebrow, and I see it on the crinkles of my eye, and a little bit up in my cheek and forehead area. That is really pale on me. Oh well. Then it says to take your beauty sponge and just blend it out. Okay, so as I see from the viewfinder, you can clearly see that I have something on my face. It is probably the lightest coverage foundation in the whole entire world. So, already not a good option for me. I like full coverage. Alright, so now let's try and spray it on the sponge and see if it gives a little bit better. And still just, see, it is showing up so much better on the camera than it is in real life. In real life, it does not look like I have all this makeup on. I also feel like I'm using the whole can. So this side is the sponge side, and it definitely has a fuller coverage because obviously it's more concentrated on the sponge. And then this side is just the spray only, which I feel like I could do like 600 more coats. And it still wouldn't be enough. So let's see what it does when it's interacting with some other products like concealer and setting powders and such. Concealers I'm going to use today are my Ride or Dies right now, LA Girl Pro Concealer in Porcelain, and Kat Von D's Lock-It Concealer Cream in L3. And then the contour and powders I'm going to be using today are my trusty Amazon contour palette, as well as the Coty Airspun great powder. My great grandma used to use it, so I actually, every time I smell it, it reminds me of her. So we are going to do the Pro Concealer on the spray side, and then we're going to do the Lock-It, Kat Von D Lock-It concealer on the sponge side. I'm not going to do a full face with this because it's really just a review of the foundation and how the foundation goes on your face and interacts with other foundational products such as concealer and powders. I feel like on the spray side, the concealer just kind of like took away all of the foundation. Like I could have just painted my face with my concealer and had more coverage. And now for the sponge side. Okay, so I don't feel like it picked up as much or moved around as much of the foundation on the sponge side, but I still feel like meh. Now we're going to contour and highlight a little bit. Trusty Amazon palette, that light brown color, big fluffy brush. I feel like it picks up powder nicely. Blends well. Alright, so it really does well with powders. I'm not seeing an issue with that. Works well with my super inexpensive, cheap contour palette. It also is looking a little clownish and fierce because this foundation is like 3 shades lighter than my face. But we're now going to go into our Coty Airspun powder and see how it reacts with this. Okay, so as I said, that's all I'm doing for the review. I'm not doing a full face with this because it's just a short little review. But the Bairly Sheer Spray-On Foundation I don't think is worth the money. And for the one commercial that I've seen of it, it's not widely available. There are other spray foundations out there that probably give you a much fuller coverage as well, and a nicer coverage and a nicer finish than the Bairly Sheer. I've used the Sally Hansen, the nail polish company, the one that also does like the bronzing lotions and stuff. They had a spray foundation a few years ago and I've used that. That gives a way fuller coverage than this. However, their line tended to only have yellow undertones, which was a little frustrating because I feel like I have a little bit more of a neutral undertone or like a pinky undertone. Dior has a spray foundation, which is super expensive, but if you go and watch Patrick Starr's videos, he swears by it, he loves it, he pretty much uses it in all of his makeup looks that he's going to be wearing like all day or to events. And Sephora also has spray foundation. I've never used it. Although I could imagine that it probably gives you a much fuller and nicer finish than this Bairly Sheer. And if I'm not mistaken, the Sephora spray-on foundation is only a few dollars more than this Bairly Sheer for like $13. I think theirs might be like 20, if that. So there are other options out there as far as spray-on foundation. If anybody who's watching this has tried spray-on foundation, not just Bairly Sheer, but Sephora, Dior, Sally, Hansen, I want to say that it's Hansen, but somehow I think Henson keeps coming into my name because of the, or in my head, because of the Muppets, like Jim Henson, but I know that's not true. I think it's Sally Hansen. Anyone who's tried spray-on foundation, leave a comment below, leave your tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Test It Tuesday. Please come back next Tuesday when we will be reviewing the stoneware microwave cooker. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like Test It Tuesdays and all my other reviews of products and tutorials on makeup, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching.